Let's start the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Triangle Defense Podcast. If you're new here, I'm your host, Alex Ortega.
I'm Jonathan King.
And we are here today to play off of our last episode that we had. So we named the most underrated player on every Western Conference team. Some of them are a little more obvious. A couple of them are a little more obscure. So if you
haven't seen that video, go check it out. You better.
Definitely.
You better go check it out.
Because today we're going to be doing the Eastern Conference edition. And I don't know about you, but I'm really excited about this one. I have a lot of ones that I already know you're not going to agree with, but I've got my notes and reasoning to back it up.
There's some tough ones.
Oh, yeah. There was a few that I was struggling to put notes together for or even figure out a guy on specific teams. But we'll get into that in a few. But with the topic of today's episode being, the theme being underrated, a thought kind of struck me the other day as I was playing 2K again. What is a team, from when we were growing up, 2000s, 2010s, that you think is worthy of getting that, retro team on there? Like, what is a team that's not already
on there?
Yeah, that you think should.
It's funny because they added I think this year or last year, I don't remember, they added the 02 Suns, which is really like the most random choice.
A team that legit nobody asked for
or cares about. No. It's literally just the Suns with Penny Hardaway and Starbury. That's pretty much it.
Right.
No one cares. There's a bunch of them that they haven't added that they should. The 77 Blazers with Bill Walton, not a team. The only Blazers team to ever win a title.
Right.
Really kind of historic team.
Well, because there's three different Blazers teams on the thing as I was looking, because there's the one that went to the finals against the Bulls.
Yeah.
There is
Jail Blazers.
The Jail Blazers, and then there's a team with LaMarcus Aldridge, Brandon Roy, and
is
Greg
Roy
Oden.
on that team? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Brandon Roy was on that team. Yeah, I think that was his it might have been his rookie season, which was unfortunately his best season probably. But, one that I was thinking, kind of more recent history. I mean, like I didn't watch the 77 Trailblazers. I haven't gone back and watched much of them either. But for me personally, a team that sticks with me, it was kind of more at the beginning of when I became like a really big like basketball fan. It's the 2009 Orlando Magic. 2008, 2009, or 09, and 2010. That team was like, so what a lot of people I think confuse is it wasn't a great team. It wasn't the most talented team, but it was. But
they were the best at taking steroids and cheating and taking PEDs and shooting the lights out and then getting banned or getting in trouble and then being shit the next season. They were great at that.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure.
Good at robbing people with Kobe versus LeBron in the finals. They were really good at that too.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that team was just built so good. It was Dwight Howard with a bunch of shooters. It was Dwight Howard with Jameer Nelson, Rashard Lewis, a young JJ Redick,
Hedo Turkoglu,
all of that team. Yeah, I definitely think, like I said, I mean, looking at the roster up and down, it's not the most talented roster, but definitely one that was built so perfect. I mean, Dwight Howard was the best center in the league by far at that point, and just surrounding him with, all the open space that he had to do what he did down low. Like that team was so good. I mean, unfortunately, they ran into Kobe and Pau Gasol, but I was actually rooting for the Magic in that series.
You loser.
Yeah, I was. I wanted to see them win.
Yeah, besides, I think there's a couple obvious ones before we were born. 93 Suns and 98 Pacers should be in the game.
But Barkley and Reggie Miller don't want to be in the game.
And Reggie Miller should be in the game, which you can't really do it. But if we're talking from, like, my basketball watch, I mean, if they threw in the 02 Suns, the floodgates kind of open on quality of teams that they let in.
Right.
Like they have the 06 Grizzlies in there, and it's like they weren't terrific, but they're an interesting team.
Powell, Shane Battier.
I think Jay Will might have been on it, or Mike Bibby, one of those.
Yeah, one of those two was on that.
Probably
team,
might have been Bibby. I'm thinking the first one that came to mind was the 2012 Sixers. They had Iguodala, Drew Holiday.
Was
the team that beat the Bulls when D Rose got injured.
Who else was on that team? I'm trying to remember.
Was Elton Brand on that team? Like past his prime, Elton Brand.
I think he was. Yeah, no, that actually does make sense. But no, I
Yeah,
remember.
and it's not like they were great. Nick Young was on that team apparently. Lou Will was on that team.
Interesting.
He might have been. Yeah.
Huh.
Thad Young was on that team.
Oh yeah. Okay, because I remember that Drew Holiday, Iggy, and Thad Young.
Doug Collins coached them. I don't remember that.
Interesting.
Nikola Vucevic was on that team.
I don't even remember him being on the Sixers.
I don't even know if he played. Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, no, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, Thad Young was on the team. Jody Meeks, Andres Nocioni.
I haven't heard that name in forever.
And Lavoy Allen. So not a great team, but interesting enough.
Scrappy for sure.
Definitely scrappy, and they took a win off of the Bulls for obvious reasons. But
right, yeah. Another one too. This is a team that was led by one of the most forgotten stars of this era,
James Harden.
No, for me, another team I was going to name is. I mean, it could be any one of these teams from. I believe it was 2007 to 2009. The Utah Jazz were loaded.
Like Carolina AK-47.
That starting lineup was Darren Williams, like I said, one of the most forgotten stars of that era.
He was like the best point guard in the league for like a year.
Yeah, it was him at the one. Ronnie Brewer at the 2, because I remember the Bulls ended up picking up him and Carlos Boozer after that season.
Yeah.
So it was
Kyle Korver.
Young Kyle Korver. So Darren Williams, Ronnie Brewer, AK-47, Carlos Boozer, and I think Mehmet Okur was on that team.
Mehmet Okur was on that team. Carlos Boozer.
Paul Millsap.
They had CJ Miles was on that team. I think he was probably a rookie. Paul Millsap was on that team. Must have been.
That team was loaded. I mean, that they went to the. I believe they went to the Western Conference Finals.
Ronnie Price was on that team. He's a 2K legend.
Yeah, that team was loaded. I mean, unfortunately, they ran into. I believe because they went to the Western Conference Finals, and I think they ran into the Spurs.
Probably.
Yeah, so
it's that time.
Yeah, so they really good team. I think they were consistently winning like 50-something games in that like 3-4 year span. But I mean, they just ran into the Lakers and the Spurs every year in the playoffs. So I mean, they weren't going to get past that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other teams. I was going to say is the Portland team they have in the game the one with Brandon Roy, or is it the one with because I could have swore they had a team that was, I think, like 2013, 2014, which was Dame, Wes Matthews.
No, they don't have that team. That team should be, because
Aldridge
I loved using
Rolo.
that. I loved using that team in 2K. Yeah, but no, that one is not on there yet. No, it's a Brandon Roy team, LaMarcus Aldridge. But another team right around that time era as well too. I was reminded of this. My roommate's a Hawks fan, and we were talking about it. The 2015 Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
60
they won
games.
50 games. Yeah.
And nobody remembers that or talks about it or anything. Yeah. But 4 All-Stars on that starting lineup. That team should definitely, I'd say, within the next year or two, should definitely.
They won
on that discussion.
That starting 5 won Player of the Month.
Yeah,
that one time, which is just okay. It's whatever,
right.
But it happened. It's weird that it happened.
Yeah, no, that's another team of more like recent history.
Yeah,
that I think should definitely get.
2018 Rockets isn't in there, right?
No, not yet.
I think down the line it should be.
It will be. Yeah, they will be definitely.
Yeah. But, what's the most recent team in the game? The Warriors, 2018 Warriors or whatever.
The Raptors.
With KD.
It's that Raptors team that won the finals. Yeah.
There's probably some Toronto fan that was like, "They're disrespecting us. We got to get them in the game."
Yeah, no, exactly. Because I mean, if they have those most recent Warriors teams, and they have the 2016 Cavs and all that, so I guess they kind of just had to add that team, But,
yeah. They're unique. They won a title, and they're no longer Gasol's not on the team, Kawhi's not on the team. It's totally different team. So
yeah, Danny Green's gone. All of that. Yeah, Lowry. All that, but, no, those are some pretty those are a few that I forgot of and all that, and teams I definitely think should be in the game. If you guys have any other teams that we might have forgot, please drop that in the comments below. I love 2K, and I love reminiscing on, like I said, the era of basketball that you and I really grew up in and that we became fans with. But moving on to the topic of the day, we are both going to be picking the most underrated player on every Eastern Conference team. Starting out with the heavy hitter, the team that is looked at to be the favorite to win the finals. It's the Brooklyn Nets. What do you have for this one, John?
This one was kind of tough as well. Because I honestly don't know if this guy's even overrated or underrated or what. Nico Claxton.
Oh, Nick Claxton, yeah.
Yeah. Is it like, is that
he's solid. He does some good big man things.
He's pretty mobile, yeah. For a big man, he's like a utility big man almost.
Yeah, no, pretty much. He's a good rim roller and all that.
Yeah, he does all that shit.
I guess we could say he's underrated in the sense that nobody really. I mean, he's probably the least talked about player on that entire roster.
Yeah, I forget that he's on there sometimes.
And now people are talking about, like with Aldridge being back and them getting Paul Millsap and all that. But I mean, Nick Claxton's still probably going to be the starter there. I would definitely think so.
Yeah, it depends on what they do. In the playoffs, they used Blake a lot, but they had Jeff Green, so it sort of changed the complexion of the team.
Exactly.
But I mean, who do you have?
My pick for this one, I know he's a meme currently, and he deserves it because he was terrible in that Bucks series. It's Joe Harris. Don't forget that Joe Harris is deadly from three. He shot 47% from deep last season. I think he's going to bounce back and play a huge role on a team that is the favorite, like I said, the favorite to win the championship. Like I said, I know I've seen all the memes of Joe Harris playing for the Beijing, Tigers and all that. But and he deserved it because he stunk it up that game 7 against the Bucks. But I mean, just don't forget he's one of the best, if not the best three-point. Yeah, he's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA.
I thought you were going to pick one of the big three for a second there.
Right, yeah, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, he kind of – you could say – you could make an argument for Harden and Kyrie currently being underrated just by people that forget
more of Harden, like we mentioned that in one of the previous episodes, to where just with him being injured and all the weird trade stuff getting out of Houston and all that. But
you like Patty Mills on this team?
I do. I love Patty Mills on this team. Yeah. I mean, especially because he's going to start now. So
I don't know, half the games maybe or something. I have no fucking clue what's going to happen with that whole situation. I guess it's just got to bust out the popcorn and find out what happens.
Yeah. But I do love that addition. I think he's going to be really good on this team, and he was actually my original pick before I chose Joe Harris. But I mean, either one of those guys I think is fair. Even like you said with Nick Claxton too, just he's probably going to be the starting big on this team, and nobody's talking about that. But moving on to the next team, this one was a little harder because this is a team, when we were having this conversation last year, didn't have expectations. They had a few guys on the roster that everyone was saying, hey, they might be good in a few years. Like if this player breaks out, if this player continues to develop. It's the Atlanta Hawks. Now going into the season, they have legitimate expectations, after they made that run to the Eastern Conference Finals. So there's a lot of guys that it would have been easy to pick them as underrated last year, but a few of them really showed out throughout the season and throughout that playoff runs. So who do you have for the Hawks?
One of the big key guys he's going to have to be consistent on, especially the defensive end, but offensively he's going to have to be consistent for them to be continually successful. And it's I picked DeAndre Hunter.
I picked DeAndre Hunter too. Yeah. I was going to say he is kind of almost a non-factor on offense. He's pretty, and like I was having a conversation about it with my roommate who's a Hawks fan, and he was talking about how he favors Cam Reddish way more because Cam Reddish actually brings something offensively. But I can't unsee what DeAndre Hunter did in that Knicks series. He was the primary defender on Julius Randle, and he was part of why Randle had such a tough time just doing anything that entire series. So if he can get a consistent 3-point shot, become a little bit better of a shot creator and all that, and obviously stay healthy. He had his injury issues last season. I think Deandre Hunter is an underrated player on this team.
Yeah, I think he's a smart player. So I think when he goes on offense, he can figure stuff out. But yeah, he's got to get a bit more of a shot. In Virginia, he didn't really have a shot either, a little bit. But his offensively was hindered a little bit. But he's young, and I think if Atlanta goes forward, like Reddish was getting a little hype last year because he wasn't horrible like he was his rookie season.
Yeah,
and
he was so bad.
And Herter was getting a lot of talk, and so was Capella and a bunch of those guys, but no one really mentioned Hunter. And I think Hunter could be that big time small forward if they're gonna have success.
Exactly. I mean, like Trey and John Collins are the duo, but I think DeAndre Hunter is going to be that primary perimeter defender to really, hold that team down. And like I said, whenever he does develop a 3-point shot, hopefully he could be one of the best 3-and-D players in the league. He could become like kind of like a Robert Covington type of guy and just be that one guy that everybody trades for whenever they need somebody that can bring 3-point shooting and defense. And moving on to the next team, another team that had a weird season last year and have a bit of expectations moving into this season. It's the Boston Celtics. Who did you have for this one?
For the Celtics, I had I had a guy that you're probably not going to like judging on based on your reaction to the last couple picks, but it's it's better than those ones. It's Peyton Pritchard. Okay. See, it's not that bad. Peyton Pritchard, when he played and was healthy, was pretty damn good, especially off the bench. He could carve out a role. I mean, now with Dennis Schroeder being there, I don't really know how that whole guard rotation looks because I don't know who's starting for the Celtics. It could be Smart even.
Start Schroeder probably.
Point guard, yeah. But Pritchard could easily bring them value at guard position. I think he's a really good player.
Yeah, I like Peyton Pritchard. Twitter loves him. But he's a solid player. And I forgot what kind of injury he went down with.
I don't know either.
Last year, but I like the kid. I think
leg or something.
Yeah, he can be solid. And the guy that I picked is, I know Pritchard's more on the younger side. I picked the guy more on the twilight of his career. I'm going with Al Horford.
Okay.
He was really bad in Philadelphia. He was not a good fit next to Joel Embiid, and with Simmons not being able to space the floor and all that. Terrible fit over there. They had him playing out of position. It was just a nightmare. They sent him over to Oklahoma City, and he actually played pretty well. So I think
never
he's underrated.
Never saw him play a minute in the Thunder jersey. I don't think not a single minute.
He played pretty well, and a lot of people kind of have given up on him and think that he has nothing left to offer. But I think he can be a really, really good backup big to Robert Williams on this Celtics team. I still love what he does defensively. That hasn't gone anywhere, and I think he's going to be important to. Whenever they get to the playoffs, to stick on guys like a Giannis or a Julius Randle or any other big men like that. Embiid as well too. I mean, he's given Embiid a lot.
He gives Embiid fits. At least he did a couple seasons ago. We'll see if
I want to say he's like. I remember I saw the stat somewhere. Embiid is like 1-7 head-to-head with Al Horford. And he's played like his worst games against him. So, he's going to be important. And same thing with Giannis, too. He used to give Giannis fits a few years back. I don't think their paths haven't crossed
we'll recently. See if that continues. Yeah.
Right, yeah. But, I think he's going to be really valuable, like I said, especially in those deeper playoff runs. And I think there might even be a world where he ends up closing a lot of games for that game as well, too. Nice. And moving on to the hometown boys, I am repping them today on the shirt. It's the Chicago Bulls. This one was kind of hard to pick too. Because there's a few overrated players on this team. I mean, I think Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan have become overrated by Bulls fans.
Oh, by Bulls fans, sure. They overrate everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I was thinking about going the Vucevic route, but I don't really think he's underrated anymore. I think he's properly rated. He does what he does. I picked. I think this might be one of the only times I picked the best player on the team to be the most underrated. But I picked Zach LaVine. I don't think people give him enough credit for being as good as guys like Devin Booker, as Donovan Mitchell.
Well, because that's the thing. I agree with you because
he's right up there. One of the best
I think a lot of
shooters in the league.
people look at it to where like Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell are here and Levine's like right here.
Yeah.
When realistically, it's closer probably to right there. I mean,
I think they're all on the same level. I think Zach Levine is the best 3-point shooter out of that group, and he's so damn efficient. He's one of the best volume shooters the league has.
And he's better at finishing than Devin Booker is too.
He was doing it with like Thomas Satoransky and Kobe White feeding him the ball. Now he has Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso and a couple more playmakers.
Exactly, yeah. Because I mean, Mitchell's had Mike Conley and Booker had Chris Paul and all that. But okay, no, I like that. I like that route that you took.
Yeah,
interesting, unconventional. So I'm gonna go unconventional too, and I'm gonna go with a guy that he's been overrated by a certain fan base, and just by kind of people on Twitter and all that stuff. I'm gonna go with Alex Caruso.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Alex Caruso. I love that addition by him, and people overrate him in the sense that, like, they call him the GOAT and all that stuff, making jokes like that. But I really love this addition and what he brings to this team.
Dirty work guy.
Exactly, yeah. I love what he brings defensively. I think he's going to be really, really important to that second unit. That second unit.
Such a good guy to have on a championship team.
Yeah, exactly. So like Caruso, that second unit of Alex Caruso, Derrick Jones Jr.,
Kobe White,
all
Tony
of that.
Bradley.
Yeah, I was gonna say this could be really good for Kobe White too, because I never liked Kobe White as the primary ball handler.
Yeah.
And Alex, I mean, I love Alex Caruso in that role, so that allows Kobe White. I think he can flourish more as like I always kind of looked at him as like kind of like a Lou Will type guy, to come off the bench and be that. Just spark off the bench, just shoot, play off the ball, all that. And he kind of, maybe for some of the older people too, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Ben Gordon.
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so
not as good as Ben Gordon yet, unfortunately.
No, definitely not. But I think this addition of Alex Caruso is going to be really important for the team. And like I said, it's going to help Kobe White develop as, an off-ball player and all of that. So all memes aside, I think Alex Caruso is actually underrated for what he brings, like from a basketball perspective.
Yeah, you could say that.
Nice. And moving on to another one this was probably the hardest one for me. The Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, this was the easiest for me.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. I think the most underrated player in the league right now is Colin Sexton. The whole league.
Interesting.
I really think so. In the entire league, I think Colin Sexton is so overlooked.
I gotta hear your notes on this, man.
If he goes to a good team, people will be like, how the hell did they ever get rid of him? Because there's been talks ever since he was a rookie of them just wanting to get rid of Colin Sexton. He's 22 years old and averaged 24.5 points per game last year. Really good efficiency. Shot 37% from three on like 4.5 attempts. Gets to the free throw line a decent amount. Not a great passer. He's kind of selfish, but who's he going to pass to?
Ask Kevin Love.
Yeah. Who's he going to pass? I would rather have him score the ball than pass the bum-ass Kevin Love these days.
True.
He's really one of the most underrated scorers in the whole league, and no one gives him credit because he's on the shitty Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers stink.
Yeah, I mean, I remember people mentioning his name in a Ben Simmons trade. And I think, like you said, just being in a different situation, I think he would flourish in Philly.
If he scores 24 points a game in Philly, not only is he an all-star, but he's like a god there.
Right, exactly.
He's up there with Embiid if he scores 24 a game out of the backcourt. I don't know why more people aren't talking about one of the best guard duos in the league, Garland and Sexton. It's really Sexland.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
So I went back and forth on this. Like I said, I actually had a lot of trouble picking this one because I think a few months ago, Darius Garland would have been the proper answer for this.
Probably,
but he's been having a lot of talks now. A lot of people have him in there. I had him in
Curry hyped him up.
Exactly. I had him in my most improved potentially going into next season too. So I don't think he counts as an underrated player anymore because people kind of have expectations. Yeah. I thought a little bit about Lauri Markkanen. I thought about Jared Allen as well too. But honestly, I think this is the first time in podcast history that my opinion's been swayed. You got me on that, Colin Sexton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to go with that, too.
I think he's the most underrated player in the whole league. Like, really. When we did Eastern Conference, I was excited because that was the first guy I thought of. I didn't even have to go through any rosters or anything. I just looked at – I just knew Colin Sexton. Like, I don't know. I just think he's awesome.
No,
I don't think he gets talked about.
Don't get used to this, but you got me on that one. I will stick with your Colin Sexton pick.
Let's go.
Moving on to the Detroit Pistons. Did you have anybody for this team? A lot of uninteresting guys on this team.
Yeah,
I have one too.
I had an NBA player. Yeah, Isaiah Stewart impressed me more than I thought he would. Washington 5-star prospects that come out of Washington really don't. Like the University of Washington never pan out ever because they play Pac-12 competition. They are really raw and whatever. But Isaiah Stewart,
hey man, the Pac-12 showed out last year. Between USC, UCLA, and Oregon, and all that. Yeah.
Washington sure as fuck didn't. And Isaiah Stewart surprised me by not being a complete bust and actually being pretty useful big man. He's really definitely a part of that team going forward. Isaiah Stewart is. Put him right up there with Saddiq Bey, Cade Cunningham.
I was just about to say, my underrated player on this team was Saddiq Bey. He quietly had one of the best seasons out of all the rookies last year. It was overshadowed by guys like LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, and Tyrese Halliburton, but he averaged 12 and 4 on 40% shooting from the field.
Yeah, he was solid.
3. I expect those shooting numbers to go up with all of the open looks he's going to be getting from Cade Cunningham. I think he can probably next season be like a 15, 16 point per game guy. And like I said, just keep those efficient shooting splits. And I think he's going to be a solid player in this league. I got to watch him a few times in college. He was a Villanova guy. Yeah. And, we saw him light up our school twice a year, But, I like Saddiq Bey. And like I said, I think he's only going to benefit more from a guy like Cade Cunningham coming into town. But he was I'm pretty sure he was all rookie first team last year too.
I don't know.
I think so.
All rookie teams, but
I'm pretty sure he was on the all rookie team. And nobody talked about it. So I definitely had to go with Saddiq Bey on that.
Who no one else talks about is Killian Hayes because he stinks. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, no, for sure. And moving on to a team, kind of, an underrated team, a lot of underrated guys on this team. It's the Indiana Pacers. Who did you bring for that? Because, there's 3 guys on this team in, the starting lineup that, you could include as an underrated player.
This is just a terrible pick. I disagree. I look at their starting lineup, and I don't see anyone that's truly underrated. I think I won't get into the roster yet. We'll see your guys, but I just picked Jeremy Lamb almost by default. I think Jeremy Lamb's an okay player, and people forget that he exists. Right. I just didn't see anyone on their roster that was truly underrated and was like, oh yeah, he's pretty good. Like Sabonis, I think if anything is overrated. I don't know. Who'd you pick?
I'm going with a guy that was honestly just born to be an Indiana Pacer. It's TJ McConnell. I think he's one of the best backup point guards in the NBA. I love what he brings defensively. If he becomes a better shooter and all of that, I really like TJ McConnell and what he brings to the second unit on this team. That's another guy I would love to have on my team. He's kind of he's Alex Caruso, but better.
You have 9 steals in a half or something?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, though. TJ McConnell, he's gritty. He's tough, all of that. I love what he brings defensively, and I think he's really important to a team that could be a dark horse, 6 seed,
Yeah, I was this close to picking Chris Duarte. Didn't want to go that route.
Nice. And moving on to the Miami Heat. This is one I actually have a lot to say about this one. I kind of feel like you might know where I'm going with this, but
we might have the same person. I'm not confident about. I have Victor Oladipo.
I know it's not bad. Okay, but I want to. What's your reasoning?
I just think when he's healthy, which is the biggest caveat ever. Yeah. When he's healthy, he's a really, really good player. He's just never healthy. And
I was gonna say.
A healthy Heat team, all things considered, if everyone's healthy, Victor Oladipo being off the bench or even starting with them is like a really big asset. So what were you gonna say?
And he's on a vet minimum too. So like
Something like that, yeah.
that's pretty. That shows you how. I mean, he's underrated at this point too. I agree, and I was gonna say that well too, but I think you know where this is going. I'm gonna go with Max Strus. Some
okay.
might
I thought
think,
about it. I don't think
some
he's
might
there
think
yet.
this pick might be a little biased,
Big
because
time, yeah.
he went to our alma mater, DePaul University. I've met him before as well. Great guy.
Yeah.
But I do see a world, especially with Victor Oladipo being out for who knows how long, that Strus gets a decent bit of playing time. And as long as he keeps being a solid three-point shooter and isn't a complete liability on defense, I think we'll have a long Kyle Korver, JJ Redick type career.
That's pretty bold. He's got to beat out. He's in a long line of white heat shooters like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro. He's got to beat those guys out in rotation minutes.
And like I said, especially with Victor Oladipo being injured, I think he's gonna actually play a decent bit, especially to start the season out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He was pretty. He could shoot, but he was pretty, raw.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. But I mean, he came into the league as like a 23-year-old rookie. Like body wise, he's ready, and I mean, he doesn't. When he goes out there, he doesn't have a lot of the jitters that other, like 18, 19-year-old rookies were having.
Yeah.
And all of that. So I like Strus a lot. Might have to go get a Max Strus jersey, definitely. And like I said, I think maybe on this Heat team moving forward, or for another team or anything or anybody like that. But I think he can have a long career as just that white guy that comes off the bench and just shoots threes.
Yeah.
Essentially, like I said, I think he could have a Korver, JJ Redick type career, to where like I mean Redick and Korver were both starters on really good teams, and their only job was to shoot the three. And I think Max could 100% fill that role. Being like what JJ Redick was to the Lob City Clippers.
Yeah, maybe.
Or even what Korver was to, I mean, obviously not an all-star, but what Korver was to that Hawks team that was really, really well-rounded.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to see some eyes on Max Strus this season. I really like him.
Yeah.
Moving on to the reigning champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. Same thing. I mean, a lot of guys that prove themselves. Like, I mean, some people could have looked at Drew Holiday as an underrated player, Chris Middleton, or anybody like that. But those guys have cemented themselves as really, really solid players. So, who do you have for this one? I actually think we might have the same one because this was kind of an easy pick.
Middleton.
Oh, you have Middleton still?
Yeah, I did have Chris Middleton still. Even after winning the finals, and even after every game goes like, oh, never underrate Chris Middleton. Everyone still underrates Chris Middleton. He doesn't get the contribution or the pub for his contributions like even Holiday or Giannis does. But Middleton was right there, and they don't win the title without him. So.
Oh no, definitely not. And part of it I do think is because of his story and how he got to the league. He was a Texas A&M guy.
A&M, which is like bizarre.
Texas A&M guy, second
basketball.
round pick. He played for the G League a little bit. So, I mean, his story is all of the makings of a guy that is underrated. But no, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they don't win the finals without him. And
no, definitely not.
They don't make any of these playoff runs without him over these past few years. I mean, he stunk it up in the last few seasons, but he showed up this year. And he definitely deserves his respect. I agree. But the guy for me, like I said, the reason that I think this was an easy pick, I'm going with Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, that was my other one.
I mean, he fell under the radar just because he was gone for almost the entirety of the Bucks title run. But he's a great defender, needs to start shooting more efficiently when he gets back. But a lot of people, I think he's underrated because people say like, oh, well, they won the finals without him, but which is true, but he's going to be the starter moving forward.
He'll start,
and he'll be a really important factor for the team that is trying to make it back to the finals.
Yep.
And moving on to the New York Knicks, a couple other guys that were underrated last season, like for sure that kind of showed out. Who do you have for this one?
RJ Barrett, and I think the underratedness comes from his potential of where he could be the best player on the team in a year or two. Better than Randall, I think. I think he's just really solid. Defensively, he's really good. He can shoot the ball decent enough. He's still really young. So I had RJ Barrett, although you could go a couple different ways.
I kind of like that pick because it started out with RJ Barrett being overrated,
right? Because he's out of Duke, and
he's out of Duke, and
can't go right. Yeah,
and I remember the discussion of, should this guy go number one over Zion? He was ranked over Zion in high school and all that. So he started overrated when he got into the league. And then he didn't really have a great rookie season, and he fell under the radar. But he was good last season, and a lot of people still kind of had it in their head that he was still the same old RJ Barrett. But I like that one, and I definitely think I agree. In the next 1 to 2 years, he probably will be the best player on this team.
Is that who you had?
No, I didn't actually. I had Nerlens Noel.
Okay. That's a good one because I forgot he was even on the team.
Exactly. When I saw the Knicks hire Tom Thibodeau, there was a few guys that I had in mind that I thought would really benefit from Tibbs getting hired. One of them was Nerlens Noel. I think he has needed a defensive-minded coach this entire time. He's going to fill that starting center role with Mitch Robinson still being out with the foot injury. But I have noticed that, he plays what was I saying? But he's a big part of that team's defensive identity. And like I said, he really benefited from Tom Thibodeau coming to town. And I think he's an underrated player at this point.
Yeah. Going back to RJ Barrett, I'm just looking at it. How many Canadian wing prospects are going to be called Maple Mamba? Because
Wiggins, RJ
Jamal
Murray.
Yeah. And that's 3 is already too much.
Way too many. Yeah.
I'm just wondering when it's going to stop because we just need a Canadian player to be like Jordan level good, so that that's the Maple guy or whatever, Mamba, Maple Jordan, whatever, and that's it. That's it. Like,
podcast
need to retire that nickname.
Podcast topic coming up: the best Canadian player of all time. We'll definitely get into that one. Yeah, I was gonna say probably Steve Nash. Moving on to the Orlando Magic, rebuilding team. A lot of young guys on this team. I have one that you're not going to agree with, I don't think, but I want to hear who you came with first.
Did you pick a rookie?
No.
Okay, I picked Cole Anthony.
Okay.
Just because he's pretty underrated. He plays for by like rule, everyone on the roster is underrated automatically by playing in Orlando.
Yeah.
But Cole Anthony is just as bit as good as Suggs is going to be this year, I bet. Like, I really think that both of them are going to be competing for the starting spot. And they're going to be – I think Cole Anthony's really good.
I actually like that because I think a lot of people have kind of already put it in their head that Cole Anthony's the odd guy out, but that's not true. I mean, he might end up starting over, Jalen Suggs or even Markelle Fultz at this point, But, I think he's underrated in the sense that everybody has kind of just counted him out already. But that's not necessarily true. The guy that I picked, like I said, that you're probably not going to agree with, you might be completely out on him, but I'm not. It's Wendell Carter.
I'm out on Wendell.
Yeah, they just got him on a 4-year, $50 million.
Yeah,
it's actually a pretty good. I think that's solid value for him.
I don't know what they're going to be doing in the next 4 years, but it's not going to be contending.
What the hell's 50 divided by 4? That's $12 million a year.
That's a good deal. Yeah, that's a solid. I don't know. Wendell, I don't know. He's okay at everything. He's undersized or whatever. Good for them retaining some sort of modicum of talent.
Right.
But that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
I think he still has potential to be a not as good like Al Horford type guy. Kind of like a blue guy. I like what Wendell brings defensively, and I'm not completely out on him, and I think most people are, but I'm sticking with that one. Yeah. I like Wendell Carter, and I think he could be. I mean, whatever this team's going to do over the next few years, they got him on a solid deal. So I like that. Moving on to a team, I actually have a lot to say about this one. This is quietly one of my favorite players in the NBA. The team is the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the noisiest team this entire offseason. A lot of stuff going on over there.
Circus.
Right. Yeah. Who did you have for this one?
I had Tobias Harris.
I like that.
I think he's like the Chris Middleton of that team. People forget. People always say it's like, oh, Embiid, it's Simmons, and it's a bunch of shooters. But they forget to mention Tobias Harris, who's the second best player on the team.
He gets thrown into that category as just a shooter. But I mean, Tobias Harris,
he scores. He's pretty
really solid offensive player.
He's got some size to him, so he can guard. He can play power forward, and he can guard all the sorts of guys.
Right. You can throw him at guys like KD and Giannis and all that in the playoffs. Julius Randle, people like that. No, I'm a big Tobias Harris guy. I like him a lot, and I think, like I said, he's underrated because everybody looks at that team as Embiid, Simmons, and everybody else, more opposed to when it should be looked at as a trio. You know, he is. Right. He was the second highest scorer on that team.
Shot 39.5% from three. Not that many attempts, but still,
right?
He's reliable. Yeah, reliable.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. I like that Tobias Harris is getting some respect. Like I said, this guy, the one that I picked is low key like one of my favorite players in the NBA. It's Matisse Dybal. I think he's
overrated, if anything. Yeah, he is. People treat him like he's like Alvin Robertson or Bruce Bowen or something. Like he's a great defender. He does not like move the needle enough for me to call him under. You think he's underrated?
This guy played. He was second team all defense on 20 minutes a game.
Yeah, so
20 minutes a game. He led.
How is he? Who doesn't know about Matisse Dybal though? How is he underrated? Underrated?
Yes, I think he's underrated. I think he's underrated.
If anything, he's overrated, and I don't think he is. But if anything, he's not underrated. I think he's properly rated as a really good wing who has no offensive game really.
I think his potential is underrated as well too. I think he's going to be, like I said, he falls into that category of just whenever people think of Philly, they think Embiid, Simmons, and everybody else, to where I think Matisse Dybal is actually going to be a really important piece on this team because he's going to be the primary defender in the playoffs for guys like Zach Levine, James Harden, everything like that. He's right up there with Simmons when it comes to defense. And I think he's terrible offensively. He really,
horrible. He has no offensive game.
I think he averaged
he shot 40% from. You want to hear his shooting splits?
Oh,
he shot 42% from the field, 44% from the free throw line, and 30% from the three. Those are like Westbrook numbers. Those are awful.
But worse than Westbrook. When he gets those up, I say right now he is on pace to be the new Andre Roberson. But
I was just gonna say he's literally Andre Roberson, but a little better defensively.
But if he develops a bit of an offensive game, becomes even just a respectable three-point shooter. I'm not asking him to be fucking Steph Curry or anything, but just shoot it from at least 40%, 35, 38% on, a few attempts. I think he could be the new Danny Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like Dybal, and I think moving forward, he could be an important piece to some really good teams. You saw Roberson was a negative asset offensively, and he started for a Thunder team that won 6 games and had the 73-9 Warriors on the ropes. There was a reason he was in that starting lineup, and I think Matisse Dybal can very much be that kind of guy. And I
don't know, maybe another Washington guy though, which is funny.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that when you mentioned Washington earlier. But moving on to the Washington Wizards, who did you have for this one?
Spencer Dinwiddie, I guess, because people forget he plays basketball.
Yeah, with with the injury stuff and.
Yeah, he's had a weird career going from barely able to stay in the league to like borderline all-star with Brooklyn, where he scored 20 a game.
Yeah.
And who knows what version we'll get with Washington, but off an injury and everything. But also tried to fund his career with Bitcoin. He get like a
I remember that.
He said like, if you pay me $24 million in Bitcoin as like a GoFundMe kind of thing, you get to choose where I play. And he got like $7.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, no, I like what he brings to that team. I definitely think he's a better fit than Westbrook was. And like I said, I mean, a lot of people don't talk about Dinwiddie as, just a really solid player. I think he's going to put up around probably 20 a game on a Washington team that probably won't be that great, but he'll be an important part to them winning 38 games this season for sure.
Yeah.
My guy, you know what I just realized? I've picked a lot of former Bulls. I think I have.
Did you really? Who did you pick? What former Bulls did you pick?
Wendell Carter, Max Strus. Okay. For Cleveland, I was gonna pick. Yeah, no, I was gonna pick Lauri Markkanen for Cleveland.
He's not underrated at all.
But for Washington, I'm gonna go with Daniel Gafford.
He sure did turn it on after he got traded.
I know. I don't know why he never did that on the Bulls, but
I watched him get torched on the Bulls, and then he turns out to be one of the best shot blockers in the game. I liked him out of college. He came out like a year late. He was probably going to be a lottery pick his freshman year.
He was at Arkansas. He was an Arkansas guy, right? Okay.
Yeah, and he was projected to go in the lottery or the first round, but stayed in it next year at college and then slipped to the second round.
What did he go like 38th or something?
I don't know the number. He's a second rounder, and I like the pick, but watching him get just barbecued chicken in the paint by other centers like Vucevic and Embiid would just like torment him, and then he'd go to Washington, and I see him throwing down alley-oops and blocking shots and shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no,
I don't get it. A little salty.
Yeah, no, he averaged 10 and 5 in only 17 minutes a game. And I think if he continues on this and moves into a starting role, I think he could be like a DeAndre Jordan type guy. You know, the way that he rolls to the rim, and like you said, undersized, but the way that he rolls to the rim and the way that he can block shots and, be like a real rim protector. But I like Daniel Gafford, and I wish he would have done any of that in Chicago.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Toronto Raptors, the final team in the Eastern Conference here. You might know who I'm going to choose with this, but who do you have?
Final team, did you say?
Yeah, this is the last team on the list.
No, it's not.
Who else?
You forgot the Hornets.
Oh shit!
Which is funny because it's funny you said that because the first pick the Nets, I forgot the Nets as well, and I just made up Claxton on the spot.
Really?
But I didn't want to say anything. But you forgot the Hornets.
So second to last because I'll think about a Hornets player right now too. But
think about a Hornets player. I have one that's. The Hornets are so boring. I don't blame you. Well, I shouldn't say they're boring. They could be. They're exciting to watch.
That's going to be a league pass team for sure.
They don't do anything though. They do a lot of nothing. But they do a lot of it. You know.
Exactly.
Like they have fun throwing oops and full court passes, and then they get the 9th seed. So it's like, what was all this for? Anyways,
yeah, right.
The Raptors. Yeah. I had a hard time with this one, but Gary Trent Jr. is really, really solid scorer. And I guess he's underrated because I don't know, but whatever. He's really like a premier scorer almost in the league.
100%. I don't remember what his numbers were at last season.
Yeah, like 15 a game. I'm gonna check.
Probably.
Yeah. I got traded for Norman Powell, which was almost like an even trade. Mm-hmm. 16 a game. 35% from 3 on 7 attempts, which is a lot. Pretty good, like league average.
Yeah.
But really good volume scorer, and he'll definitely help out Toronto.
Oh, for sure. No, I like that one. Honestly, I feel thinking about it now, maybe he should have been my pick as well too. But you might know who I'm going with. I'm going with OG Anunoby. If you want to go back to our award prediction, I have this guy winning Most Improved. And if you want to hear my reasoning, go back to that video.
Yeah, it's like every Raptors fan's wet dream right now. Someone outside of Canada called OG Anunoby underrated.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I like OG. I think he's a solid perimeter defender. All of that.
Yeah, he's
he just
good.
Needs to up his scoring, and I think he could be in that discussion for Most Improved. And I think for that reason, he's underrated. And moving on to the team that is so underrated that I forgot to
the most underrated team in the NBA.
The Charlotte Hornets. Who did you have for that?
I had Terry Rozier. Okay. Just because it's when he left. That's my battery. When he left the Celtics, I was thinking like, okay, this is a guy who hasn't scored above like 40% from the field his entire career. Really just like had a couple good playoff runs. He has a cool nickname, Scary Terry.
Scary Terry, yeah.
It's like whatever, but he was really inefficient from the field. Yeah, like I said, never shot above 40% from the field in Boston, which is bad, real bad.
Oh.
And then he goes to Charlotte, has 2 seasons of 20 points a game, gets his efficiency up, shot 45% from the field last year on 39% from 3 on 8 attempts. Like that's pretty much elite.
Yeah, no,
3-point shooting.
I mean, if it's not elite, it's pretty damn close.
And he's getting overshadowed by LaMelo Ball and some of the wings that they have on that team. But he's like arguably the best player on that team. Not the best asset for sure, but he's arguably the best player, I think. Yeah, and Michael Jordan finally had a big contract free agency swing that turned out well.
Turning well. Yeah, I like Terry Rozier. I actually really liked that addition for them when that first happened, and that was before he started shooting efficiently. And now I really like that. I love him next to LaMelo. But the guy that I picked for this, probably one of the guys that overshadowed him, I'm either going to go with P.J. Washington or Miles Bridges.
Okay.
I like them both. P.J. Washington's a little bit of an idiot, but that's neither here nor there. But, I think they both need to become better defenders because they don't bring all that much defensively. But 2 serious lob threats. All of that, and I think they have pretty solid potential. Oh, another guy on that team too, I think could be considered underrated too because he had a bad season last year. It's Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, I like Kelly Oubre enough.
I think he doesn't start over Gordon Hayward.
No,
but I think he can be solid on that second unit, which is going to be made up of Kelly Oubre. I think Cody Zeller is probably off that. No, Cody Zeller's in Portland. Who the hell
Cody Zeller's in. Cody Zeller. They don't have a bench. They have a big white guy. That's why it's throwing you off. Oh no, they do. They have Mason Plumlee, don't they?
That's who I was thinking about. Yeah.
Basically, just the new Cody Zeller.
Pretty much. Yeah. Who else is even on that bench, man? That's what I'm
telling you.
They
drafted Kai Jones, who I'm a big fan of, out of Texas.
Right. I like Kai Jones.
Book Knight, they drafted as well, who I also like. But they have do they have both Martins or just one? Vernon Carey is okay.
Duke guy, yeah.
They have Cody Martin, not the other one, I guess. So
interesting.
There you have it.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, that's a little tough, but because like I said, I completely forgot about that team. But I probably just have to roll with one of those wings, either Miles Bridges or Kelly Oubre or one of those guys. But that was everything that we had today for the most underrated players in the Eastern Conference. The regular season is getting very, very close, guys. We are maybe 2 weeks out from that now?
No. It's like this week, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Wait, no, you're right.
Like
shoot.
It's like Wednesday.
Like what day is it? Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay.
It came up real fast, yeah. I think opening day is Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday. Sounds about right.
Shit. All right. Yeah, no, me and John will be back with a ton of content in the regular season. Before the regular season starts, we still need to do our preseason predictions for the standings. So watch for those videos sometime within the next week. And with the regular season starting, we're going to be doing a lot of content. We're going to be doing game reviews, just talking about everything that happened. We're going to be still covering trade rumors and any moves that might happen over the next few weeks, but make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you do not miss anything moving forward. Also, give us a follow on Twitter, TTDPod. We're going to be a little more active on there as well, too, running polls and just being more interactive with people on there, too. Yeah. So you guys aren't going to want to miss anything. This is going to be, there's so many storylines going into this NBA season. I'm really excited. Ton of stuff from a content perspective for us to talk about.
Opening night, Tuesday, Nets, Bucks, Warriors, Lakers. So we will probably have an episode out before Tuesday on our rankings for the season.
No, for sure. For sure.
So look out for that so that you can you can see it and see how right we are.
Yeah. We'll come back to that in a few months' time and see where we were actually at. But thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to do all of those YouTube things, thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all of that. We greatly appreciate it. And we will see you soon. Alex, signing out.
See ya.